Everybody is talking about US's unsurmountable level of debt. With the coming of the big beautiful bill, it is expected that this debt can actually cross $40 trillion. Now, with such a huge debt and with de-dollarization taking place in a lot of parts of the world, with the largest treasury holders selling the treasury bonds in the market, with the dollar index coming down by 10.5% in 2025 alone, has the US lost it, or is it a part of some bigger strategy that they are actually unfolding it in the coming years? This video is going to tell you, and we are going to decode a lot of things which are happening in the US. There are a lot of internal factions which are taking over the treasury bonds and which will help US finance their debt. Or is US going to face a bigger hurdle in the future? Let's decode all of this in this video, so I want you to watch this video till the end. Remember when the US government told everybody that the crypto was a scam, or when the banks were telling you to stay away? Well, something dramatic is taking place.
I don't think that Bitcoin, I've said this before, is widely used as a transaction mechanism. To the extent it's used, I fear it's often for illicit finance. It's an extremely inefficient way.
There are use cases: AML, fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, sex trafficking. Those are real use cases, and you see it being used for hundreds, maybe 50, $100 billion a year for that. That is the end use case. Everything else is people train among themselves. So
speculate.
Yeah. Now my last statement, the last time I ever talk about Bitcoin, is I defend your right to do Bitcoin. I think, it's okay. I don't want to tell you what to do. So my personal advice would be don't get involved.
The same government which was waging war against the cryptocurrency has recently passed a big legislation to embrace it.
Legislative win for the crypto industry. The Genius Act passing in the Senate earlier this week, the bill establishing a federal framework for stablecoins, and now going to face a vote in the House.
But let me tell you a shocking truth. It is not about innovation or freedom. It is about US smartly managing its debt obligation. Let me give you an example and let me paint you a picture. Imagine US government being a person who has massive credit card debt. The debt that they owe is so much that they can barely make the minimum payments. This is where America stands today. The US national debt has exploded beyond 120% of its GDP. To give you the absolute terms, it is more than $37 trillion. Now, this is the danger zone where a country typically faces debt crisis. The largest holders and the largest buyers of the US Treasury bonds, which are China and Japan, are actually selling them off in the market. It's like the largest creditors are saying that we don't trust you anymore. Now, here's the scary part. When fewer people will buy your debt, the interest rate will go up. And when interest rate goes up, the debt becomes much more expensive. This is a vicious circle which can actually lead to economic collapse. Now, guys, this is where the crypto comes in, but not in the way that you think. There's a type of cryptocurrency called stable coins. Think of them as digital dollars. To name a few of the famous stable coins like Tether, USD coins, Circle, and so on. So let me tell you how they work. You give them $1, they will give you one digital token worth $1. Very simple, right? But what are they actually doing with your $1? They are actually buying US Treasury bonds to back that one digital token. So consider it as a bank account, but instead of lending your money, they are actually parking it in the most safe investment possible, which is US Treasury bonds. Let me give you certain numbers which will blow your mind. Tether alone holds more than $113 billion in US Treasury bonds. To put it in perspective, it has actually surpassed Germany's holding, which is about $111 billion. So it's like one of the biggest cryptocurrency company is becoming one of the largest lenders to the US government. Tether ranked as the 7th largest net foreign buyer of US Treasury bonds in 2024, surpassing countries like Canada, Mexico, and Germany. But here's the kicker, guys. This is just the beginning. If Tether and Circle continue to grow at this level, they can surpass about $660 billion in US Treasury bonds, coming very close to China, which has a holding of about $772 billion. So when the US government saw this, they said that let's make this official, and they passed something called as Genius Act. You heard me right. It is actually called as Genius Act. Let me tell you what this stands for. It stands for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for US Stablecoins Act. It was recently passed in June by the Senate with the vote 68 to 30. Now this act is very crucial as it mandates these stablecoin companies to have a reserve of assets underlying these stablecoins. Simply put, it is actually forcing these companies to buy treasury bonds but with your money. Now the politicians will tell you that it is just about preventing frauds or protecting the investors, but let's be real. If that was the case, they would have done it years back when company like FTX collapsed and millions of people lost billions of dollars. Rather, this is just about creating one massive and very reliable buyers for their treasury bonds. Even Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently said that it is expected that about $2 trillion of demand for these treasury bonds can come from these digital assets.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the launch of these dollar-pegged stablecoins could unlock a $2 trillion market.
I think stablecoins could reinforce dollar supremacy because stablecoins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. Treasuries, T-bills. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stablecoin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars if it's on your phone. You can transact. So I think there's a very good chance that crypto is actually one of the things that locks in dollar supremacy.
Just imagine $2 trillion. It is actually double the size of the largest holder of treasury bonds today, which is Japan. Think about how clever this is. I mean, people who are actually thinking that they are escaping the traditional financial system is actually becoming one of the biggest supporters of this US Treasury debt. Just imagine those people who are thinking that they are buying Tether to trade in crypto. They are actually indirectly buying these treasury bonds. So the government is trying to create a system where even if the foreign creditors are not there to buy their debt, they are creating an internal system where the ones who are actually trading in crypto are actually the ones who are buying their treasury debt. Can you just imagine how smart this is of the US government? Now, what does this hold for the common people? First, you have to understand that most of the cryptocurrency aren't as revolutionary as you think. If you are holding stable coins, you are actually holding treasury bond itself, but with extra steps. This makes us understand why some of the banks like JP Morgan Chase are actually loving this crypto. They are not embracing any digital rebellion. They are just loving the way that treasury bonds are bought now. So if you really want financial independence, so go for those assets which are not regulated or controlled, or which are not the ones which are actually backing these treasury bonds. So the US government's embrace of crypto isn't about any innovation or about freedom. It is just about survival. So they have actually turned the crypto market into a massive treasury bond buying machine. So next time someone is telling you that cryptocurrency is anti-establishment, you remind them that one of the largest stablecoin companies are one of the largest lenders to the US government. So what do you think about this revelation? Are you comfortable with your crypto investment being used to buy the treasury bonds? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you think this video was relevant, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Till then, stay informed and thank you.